Today.
For more on the administration's next spending plan, let's bring in Stephen Law, president of the Senate Leadership Fund. So you heard it there. Colin Reed has an exclusive piece on FoxNews.com. The headline is this, that Biden and the Dems spending spree, the country's future depends on conservatives doing this. Basically, he's saying they got to get back to what they know best, which is being fiscally conservative. Do you think that could happen?
I think that's true. I think you saw the beginnings of it with the COVID-19 relief bill that the Biden administration put out. When you looked at the fine print, only 9% actually went to COVID relief. The administration is behind a so-called election voter rights bill that actually is designed to make cheating easier and protect the majority. And when it comes to infrastructure, I think Republicans are going to come to the fore and say, well, wait a minute, we're for roads and bridges, if that's in fact what's in this package. But how are you going to pay for it? Are you going to shove more debt on our children and grandchildren, or are you going to raise taxes on average people who are driving to work or who are driving trucks long distances in rural America? Those are the kinds of issues that I think Republicans are going to come forward and highlight with a lot of energy and passion.
But Paul Krugman, of course, a liberal Democrat, points out that it's likely that this infrastructure bill could end up with a straight party line vote, just like the COVID relief bill. Yet that COVID relief bill, Stephen, is pretty popular. And could this one be very popular as well? And then what does the Republican Party do?
Well, I think the Republican Party needs to stand for the principles that have long defined it, which is fiscal responsibility. And look, if you're throwing out a lot of free money, you're going to be popular in the short term. But there are longer term consequences that I think Americans are going to focus on, and particularly as the details of these packages get known. You know, again, that only 9% of the so-called COVID-19 relief bill actually went to the purported reasons for the legislation. A lot of it went to create a new welfare infrastructure that has not been talked about a lot. But and we expect to see that in this next round of so-called infrastructure spending that follows this first tranche, which will supposedly be about roads and bridges.
So it's interesting. That's right. There's a whole different new approach, right? The idea of the Clinton welfare reforms of the 90s, that is being eviscerated now. There's a different way of dealing with this now. But one of the ways that the Democrats might do this and other things is to blow up the filibuster. Here's a couple of headlines for you. Biden's filibuster ultimatum. Democrats want the Republicans to surrender on policy or else. You're a creature of the Senate. What is your take? Do you think that they'll do this?
Well, I think, any change of this magnitude always comes with unintended consequences. You know, Harry Reid thought he was so clever by blowing up the filibuster when it came to lower court vacancies. And then the Democrats got three unintended consequences, and they're named Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett. And the first 6-3 conservative majority in the Supreme Court in a generation. It's the kind of thing that you suddenly lose when you lose control of the majority. You realize how important that filibuster is, and I think Democrats need to be very, very cautious before they step across that line.
Do you think that Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia holds the line? He said he's not for blowing it up, but do you trust that?
Well, both Senators Manchin and Sinema have been resistant to the idea. And the thing that, there aren't very many Democrats left at the national level who aren't hard left. But the few who are need to reckon with the fact that the vote to get rid of the filibuster, if it passes, won't be their last hard vote. It will be the first of very many hard votes, because there will be no way to stop the Pelosi AOC agenda from passing to the House and then just getting rubber stamped by the Senate. And because it's a 50-50 majority, every single Democrat will have to show up for every single vote, with Kamala Harris breaking the tie.
Stephen Law, always good to see you. Thank you.